We begin the news at this hour in Nigeria's northwest, where the community leader of Kuriga village in the Gidambakuso local government area of Kaduna State says abductors of about 300 students taken last week have requested for a ransom of 1 billion naira. Abductors of 287 school children of LEA Primary School in Kuriga village in the Gidambakuso local government area of Kaduna State are demanding 1 billion naira as ransom. Nearly 300 school children, some older students and members of the school staff were kidnapped on March 7th in Kuriga town, Kaduna State, in the first mass abduction in the country since 2021. A few of them successfully escaped unhurt. Aminu said the kidnappers called his mobile phone on Tuesday. Nigeria's Information Minister, Mohammed Idris Malagi, told reporters that Tinubu's position on the kidnappings in Kuriga was that security forces should secure the captives' release without any payment to the abductors. Meanwhile, the federal government says it will not pay a dime as ransom for the release of the 280 pupils and teachers of Government Secondary School and LEA Primary School at Kuriga, Kaduna State, who were kidnapped on March 7th. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, revealed this to State House correspondents at the end of Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting held at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. Idris insisted that the security agencies are working round the clock to ensure their release, adding that they will be brought back to safety.
In Council today, Mr. President reiterated his directive to the security agencies and the Ministry of Defense to ensure that those our kids that have been abducted by these criminal gangs are brought back to their homes safely. And Mr. President has also reiterated his zero tolerance for the payment of ransom. That was also mentioned by Mr. President in Council today. So the security agencies are working around the clock. These children and people that have been abducted by criminal elements will be brought back to safety pretty soon. The security agencies are working hard in that direction.
In the meantime, the Nigerian military says it is collaborating with international partners to free the recently abducted students from Kuriga in Kaduna State, located in the nation's northwestern region. The Director of the Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, while giving an update on recent military operations, says that troops are doing all they can to rescue the victims and will leave no stone unturned in their quest to return them back to their families.
The hostage situation is an extremely sensitive one, which unfortunately is not unprecedented in the history of the ongoing war. The hostages are being held in locations that are difficult to get to, but not out of reach. The situation is, however, indicative of the desperation of these terrorists to avoid troops' onslaught by all means. We will not rest until all of these hostages are returned. And as I did mention, we have support from our international partners. We have intelligence. However, because it is ongoing operation, there's only so much.
Away from that, the former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Oshoba, and leader of Nigeria's Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Edwin Clark, have pledged their support for a change from the current presidential system of governance to a homegrown parliamentary system. This was during an ongoing nationwide consultation for the adoption of the proposed new system, recently sponsored by 60 lawmakers of Nigeria's House of Representatives. Our correspondent Idong Joseph reports.
It is the continuation of consultations to get the buy-in of critical stakeholders on the proposed bill to transition from a presidential system of governance to a parliamentary system of government. This time, the members of the House of Representatives proposing the bill visits the former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Oshoba, and the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Edwin Clark.
Our father, our leader, sir, today we observe minutes of silence in the House of Reps 3 times.
Why?
All for purposes of issues of insecurity in several places. If we had a prime minister seated with us in parliament, I think that there is no way the prime minister will come back to face his colleagues with this problem still on ground.
Speaking after a closed-door meeting with lawmakers, the former governor of Ogun State says that the current system being practiced make those at the center too powerful and think that the parliamentary system of government will reduce wastage, share responsibilities across board.
How can somebody in Abuja stay here? I want to control the primary education in Kanuri, in Sokoto, in Bayelsa, in Ogun State. We are different culture. Security is very local. When people kidnap, if you make security local, people who know their terrain will easily know where these terrorists are hiding.
In his address, the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum lauded the lawmakers for the initiative, saying that restructuring of the country can no longer wait. Otherwise, Nigeria will cease to exist.
When you talk about 1931 and 1927, restructuring of Nigeria can no longer wait. The present constitution is a unity form of government drawn by the military because of their hierarchy. Now today, the president of Nigeria is the most powerful president in the world.
They were tasked to revisit the National Constitutional Conference that was held in 2014. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says it is working to ensure that Nigerians within and outside the country enjoy a seamless registration process of the National Identity Number NIN. Abisoye Kokau-Dushote, the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, also stated that NIN registration was free for all eligible citizens and reaffirmed the Commission's resolve to ensure accessibility for all Nigerians in line with global best standards. However, some Nigerians are still facing frustrations in getting their NIN. News Central's Bettina Ngweli reports.
The National Identification Number, NIN, is a set of numbers assigned to an individual upon successful enrollment. Enrollment consists of the recording of an individual's demographic data and capture of the 10 fingerprints. Head-to-shoulder facial picture and digital signature are all used to cross-check existing data in the National Identity Database to confirm there is no previous entry of the same data. It is mandatory for every citizen and legal resident to enroll for the National Identification Number. However, some citizens are not having an easy process.
I'm just coming from the NIM office and my requirements as at now is still not yet met. So what will make me happy right now is first thing first, getting my NIM done.
I've been suffering for NIN issue since over 2 months. This time I come to their office here, Civil Defense Office. They keep on proposing me for number for the NIN. I want to know, is this NIN, is it for sale or for free? Because I've been suffering for this NIN issue. I have lack of job since over 1 month now. I don't have a job because of NIN. Please, let the federal government look into the matter.
The Director General, Abisoye Kokau-Dushote, has given her words on a comprehensive national identity system that will streamline government services and enhance service delivery. She acknowledges the challenges millions of Nigerians had faced for several months during NIN enrollment and pledged that all issues, including long processing time and administrative errors, will be fully addressed and resolved.
We listened to the public's outcry on some cases of extortion through the offices of the front-end partners. And that is one of the reasons why last year we had suspended them, to ensure that we go through the whole process again with them, make sure that whatever loopholes which is basically the means to which they are basically extorting people, were able to close those loopholes to ensure that the citizens are happy with our services. We want to ensure that we prioritize the citizens to ensure that our services to the citizens is 100% seamless, hassle-free, and also ensure that it's problem-free for them.
There are so many difficulties that Nigerians have to navigate on a daily basis. It is hoped that all issues regarding a seamless registration will be resolved so that the NIN is not added to the list of worries of an average Nigerian. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Thank you, Bettina, for that report. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress is angry over the failure of about 90% of states, that's over 30 states, to pay the wage award as agreed by the federal government and the organized labor. The NLC said this as pensioners who retired from the federal civil service threatened to embark on a nationwide protest following the failure of the government to pay their wage award. Labour leaders in Sokoto, Kano, Benue and Bayelsa states told newsmen that their state governments had not paid the wage award, while Gombe, Ogun and Osun were paying 15,000 naira or 10,000 naira. The NLC Assistant General Secretary, Chris Onyeka, said state governors dumped negotiations as they single-handedly gave workers 10,000 naira without any negotiation. The House of Representatives has tasked its committees on solid minerals development, commerce, industry and special duties to investigate the increase in the price of cement across the country. This followed a motion raised on the floor of the House where lawmakers expressed displeasure over the recent hike in the price of cement by manufacturers, saying it is inflicting more hardship on citizens. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, has the report.
It was a heated debate as lawmakers from the House of Representatives took turns to express their displeasure over the high cost of cement in the country. They say while all raw materials for the production of cement are locally sourced, they see no reason why a 50 kg bag of cement, which was sold at about 3,500 naira in January, should now be sold between 7,000 to 8,000 naira. They accused manufacturers of capitalizing on the current exchange volatility to smuggle their products out of the country, despite being granted tax waivers.
The manufacturer of cement, less than 2 weeks ago, just declared almost $1 trillion in profits. $1 trillion naira. You have increments almost 6 times in a month.
They get interventions. They do obtain waivers on our taxes, and they enjoy forex. Yet,
Mr. Speaker, we are aware that cement is smuggled to Cameroon through Chad, Niger Republic.
While a majority of lawmakers expressed support for an urgent intervention to address this situation, the call by a member of parliament to consider the operational cost of cement manufacturing companies stirred up reactions.
They produce their power through the gas, and the gas, they bought it according to the international price. Excuse me. Order, please. Order.
While expressing displeasure that the current situation is impacting negatively on the lives of citizens, they say they want an investigation into the issue.
Cognizant that the increase is a direct affront and sabotage of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration's effort to bring comfort to the populace and should be resolved immediately.
We have been tolerating monopoly for too long in this country. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, this must stop.
After deliberation on the motion, the House referred the matter to relevant committees for further legislative action. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Residents of Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, have expressed worry over the long fuel queues being witnessed within the nation's capital. Some of them spoke to News Central TV in Abuja, expressing disappointment that despite the abundance of oil and gas in the country and the current high cost of petrol, Nigeria has been unable to solve its fuel supply problem. Marvelous Obomanu visited some filling stations in Abuja and filed this report.
Premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, is one of Nigeria's most important commodities. A disruption in its supply affects citizens immensely, causing panic in the society.
We are in the queue over there. Okay. This man came, he blocked me. This man blocked me. You allow his brother to get inside. Now he blocked me enter the front. I don't see you. I don't care. Why do you block me to allow him to enter my front? That's my question.
Wait, it doesn't matter.
Why? And for him to say sorry, he can't say sorry.
Long field queue seems to have resurfaced again in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Now, when you monitor what is happening at this particular filling station, you see vehicles all lined up, waiting for their turn to get this PMS. Some of them say they have spent up to 30 to 40 minutes in this filling station. Some of them are civil servants, some of them are entrepreneurs, business owners, some of them are taxi drivers. And they are saying that this long field queue is disrupting their activity of the day.
In a vicinity where people are operating like this, it will definitely affect business activities. You understand? So we don't call it just like that. It will definitely affect activities.
Once there's no fuel, even if you are not doing business, it affects you because you must go from one place to another.
Some of the residents expressed disappointment that even with the abundance of crude oil, Nigerians continue to suffer.
I'm actually disappointed. I'm disappointed because we that owns the fuel oil, we're not supposed to suffer like this. Look at what we are passing through every day. If you have fuel, maybe in 2, 3, 4 months before you know it, there will be queue. And which is not supposed to be like this.
In a situation where we don't even have, we go and import fuel, what do you think? You understand? It is sad.
They say even with the current price, residents are still finding it difficult to get the product.
Everybody's looking for where to get cheap fuel. Like NNPC, you see a very long queue because of the price. And the ones here, I don't know yet, but I just entered because I don't really care about the price. I just want to get my fuel and get on with my day.
I'm here over 30 minutes ago, but at least if you see this place is a little more, it's even moving. But other places, there's no even fuel. You don't even mind how many minutes you spend if you get the fuel.
We are paying times 3, times 4 of what we normally pay before. But see the queue everywhere. Some filling stations are there, they are not even selling. And those ones selling, you go, you spend a whole day.
Although the federal government has assured citizens that the nation will start refining crude by April, some are still taking it with a pinch of salt, as previous promises regarding local refining capabilities have not been fulfilled. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboman.
To health matters now. In commemoration of World Kidney Day, Nigerian nephrologists have warned against the indiscriminate use of bleaching creams, herbal concoctions, as well as over-the-counter pain reliefs to protect the human body against kidney failures. The theme for this year is Kidney Health for All, advancing equitable access to care and optimal medication practice. News Central's Adeshewa Odushoga reports.
The World Kidney Disease Day is celebrated globally on every second Thursday of the month of March. This is to raise awareness and sensitize people about the increasing number of kidney-related diseases and how their lifestyle choices are affecting their kidneys. We ask Nigerians how much they know about their kidney and how they care for them.
Kidney is very, very important, especially for excretion. It helps us, it's like managing the waste in the system. So for your kidney to function well, that means the waste system, the excrete system in your body is going to work fine.
Mistakenly or knowingly ingesting stones in food that we eat also can cause like kidney stones and all of that.
A nephrologist is a medical doctor who specializes in kidney care and treating diseases of the kidneys. According to reports by the Nigerian Association of Nephrology, at least 25 million Nigerians are battling with chronic kidney disease. More worrisome is that over 20,000 of these numbers come down with end-stage kidney disease requiring dialysis or transplants to stay alive. In the case where dialysis is not done for 2 weeks consecutively, these sometimes result in death.
When we are born, it's something that is called the nephrons, which are the foundational part of the kidneys. And when you are born with a definite number of nephrons. So for instance, if I'm born with 1 million nephrons in each of my kidneys, and someone else is born with 500,000 nephrons in each of the kidneys, find out that person is more likely to develop kidney disease than me. And even if the two of us are developing kidney disease, the other person is more likely to develop it earlier than me.
Bleaching creams, herbal concoctions, and over-the-counter pain reliefs have been proven to be one of the leading causes of kidney problems in Nigeria, among other factors.
So most of these concoctions are not kidney friendly, and some of them actually are being repackaged in the name of supplements. Hypertension is like rubber band. If you allow it to keep stretching and relaxing because you're taking your drugs at some point and you're not taking it at some other point, it will end up snapping. And when it snaps in the kidneys will fail.
According to nephrologists, one of the many ways to keep the kidney healthy is a regular intake of water of about at least 3.5 liters daily to help remove waste through urination and enable balance of the bodily functions. In Lagos for News Central, Adeshawa Odushoga.
In a significant stride towards curbing Nigeria's concern in maternal and child mortality rates, a family planning, maternal, newborn and child health initiative reports promising outcomes. Now, noteworthy achievements include a surge in family planning adoption and overall uptake in maternal, newborn and child health service utilization, with Lagos State residents also witnessing a decline in out-of-pocket expenses. News Central's Dr. Kelechi Okoro has details.
Family planning emerges as a critical catalyst for improving health outcomes. Addressing Nigeria's alarming maternal, infant and under-5 mortality indices, 1,047 per 100,000 live births and 117 deaths per 1,000 live births. Urgent actions are imperative to combat these challenges. Speaking at the Health System Consult Limited's Nigeria State-led strategic purchasing for family planning, maternal, child and newborn health, end-of-project dissemination event funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Dr. Nkata Chukwu emphasizes the importance of tackling challenges and strategies to improve health service access.
There is clear evidence that when you invest in family planning and MNCH, not only do you save lives, it's a moral thing to do, it's a rights issue, but it actually reduces the cost of providing care eventually, because unwanted pregnancies alone cost more than integrating family planning into your benefit package.
Implementation funders and partners celebrate significant milestones, reporting a 14% increase in the uptake of family planning services.
Family planning holds undeniable importance in enhancing health outcomes. The project support led to the rebranding of the Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme to Ilera Eco, and a substantial rise in enrollment from less than 1,000 when the project started to over 950,000 for the formal and informal sector.
In keeping with our mandates, which is the government's attempt to ensure that most Nigerians have health insurance coverage, and that protects them from the catastrophic costs of healthcare.
We're going to be able to bring these parameters down.
The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, underscores the project's success, highlighting recommendations for further improving access to family planning, maternal, newborn and child health services, and also achieving universal health coverage.
What this project has done has to help us as a government, as a Ministry of Health, and within the agency of the Lagos State Health Management sector, to help us identify strategic pathways through which we can gather the data that's necessary, we can build the capacity that's required, and we can apply modern science and actuarial studies to determine how to make available to our reproductive population the opportunity to achieve child spacing.
A resounding takeaway is the recognition that health and well-being of women and girls in Nigeria are integral to the nation's progress. This initiative stands as a beacon of hope, showcasing the potential of collaborative efforts to reshape Nigeria's healthcare landscape, prioritizing the health and empowerment of women, children, and families.
Now let's put a spotlight on Nigerian women making their mark in journalism as we continue to mark International Women's Month. While the industry offers a platform of powerful storytelling, the reality for these women can be complex. More in this report.
Looking at building a 21st century woman in every ramification.
In a field where journalists are recognized with a saying, "Gentlemen of the press," preferences and accolades are being skewed towards men daily. Other challenges many women journalists face, however, remain discrimination, safety concerns, and the need to balance work with family commitments. But these challenges have not stopped the rise of phenomenal female journalists in Nigeria.
You just have to create time for all these things because it's meant to be. They're all meant to be. You as a mother, you have the responsibility of giving what it takes to the family. You have to cook, you have to take care of the kids, take care of your husband.
Some men always see women as a weakling. Even if you are better than the men around you, they still see you as a weakling. And the first thing when you go for your interviews especially when they have any chance or any opportunity, is just to want to, take advantage. I won't say more than that. And it's a major challenge.
Also, the rise of digital media has opened new avenues for women. They are leveraging social media platforms to tell their stories and give voice to underrepresented communities. The 21st century woman is a talented woman, breaking barriers and reshaping the narrative.
In our own time, we don't have all those things. I can remember in the newsroom, you just have to use your head, you crack with your brain, you do your editorial work and the rest. And presently, you have the computer in front of you to do your news, to edit your news, to do all sorts of things you want to do. So that is the benefit of the technology we are talking about.
More women should pick interest in artificial intelligence because that is one direction that the world is going now. And if you as a woman wants to be ahead in the media, in anything you do, in fact, in anything you do now, you must be AI compliant.
International Women's Day is a chance to celebrate these achievements and advocate a more equitable media landscape, exploring the realities Nigerian female journalists face and the triumphs they have achieved. It is hoped that a bright future awaits them.
Staying in West Africa, civil party lawyers in the trial of former Liberian warlord Kunti Kamara, whose appeal is being heard by the Paris Court of Assizes, have reacted to the expected hearing of Aliyu Kosia, convicted in Switzerland of similar crimes. Kamara is on trial for abuses and complicity in crimes against humanity during the first civil war in Liberia.
Alors, Aliyu Kosia est détenu en Suisse. Il a été condamné maintenant en appel à 20 ans de prison pour environ 19 meurtres, des actes de cannibalisme. Alors, Monsieur Kosia est entendu parce qu'il s'agit du même groupe armé, le groupe Yolimo. Donc il a connaissance des faits. Son procès comporte des allégations qui sont communes aux allégations qui sont ici. Donc c'est évidemment un témoin important pour ce procès. Il était déjà venu en 2021 témoigner. Et la semaine passée, le Parlement libérien a décidé pour la première fois de pousser pour la création de tribunaux de guerre là-bas. Ce qui est assez incroyable, il y a un nouveau président depuis le mois de décembre au Libéria, il y a eu des élections et il y a un nouveau président. Et donc finalement, cette justice que les victimes tentent d'obtenir à l'extérieur est en train de changer la donne à l'intérieur. Et évidemment, on souhaite tous qu'il puisse y avoir justice au Libéria pour les victimes libériennes.
Et effectivement, il a été entendu de très très longues heures en Suisse dans son propre procès.
Et il a donné énormément d'éléments et effectivement ce qui est intéressant, c'est que M. Aliokocha, pour démontrer qu'il n'était pas dans une certaine ville, dit que M. Camara y était. Donc leur version, et M. Camara dans notre procès veut surtout pas dire qu'il était dans cette ville-là. Donc en fait leurs versions ne sont pas totalement concordantes et on espère qu'on aura des éclaircissements.
The news continues in southern Africa, where about 50 people have died in Angola after being forced to drink a herbal potion to prove they were not sorcerers. The deaths occurred between January and February near the central town of Kamakupa. Belief in witchcraft is still common in some rural communities, despite a strong opposition from the church in the predominantly Catholic country. Police in Zimbabwe say they have arrested the suspected leader of a religious sect in a village in northern Mashonaland, West Province, and rescued dozens of women and children. Police spokesperson Paul Inyati said Ishmael Chokurongewa, who leads the Gore Jena Penyeranyika sect, was arrested alongside 7 other senior members of the cult. Police said most of the 251 children found in Chokurongewa's farm in Nyabira, about 34 kilometers northwest of capital Harare, had no birth certificates and were not allowed to attend school. Police also discovered a grave site at the farm where 16 people have been secretly interred, including 7 infants whose burials were not registered with authorities. Meanwhile, dozens of school children in western Zimbabwe have been given bicycles thanks to a joint initiative between the Zimbabwe National Parks Authority, ZIMPAX, and the International Fund for Animal Welfare, which aims to reduce the time children are on foot during their journeys to and from school, and so reduce the risk of them being attacked by wild animals such as elephants. Wild animals killed 50 people and injured 85 more in Zimbabwe last year, and elephants are among the most dangerous.
Ziyaphuma sikhathi sonke indlovu izilwane abantwana silesikhathi sokuthi maziphuma kakhulu siyabaphelekezela ngoba ukusuka lapho esihlala khona besiya esikolo i5 kilometers sokungumango omude kakhulu njalo kulenyamazana so sibe sithwala nzima kakhulu ngabantwana ukubaphelekezela isikhathi sonke loba kunjalo kunikela ababakhulu kulabancane oECD grade 1 grade 2 abangazuzanga amabhayisikili still lokho kuyipressure ngoba sesibaqhuba futhi njalo sokuwesi ngoba labana abakhulu sebehamba amabhayisikili.
Indlovu sezibulala abantu kaningi zadamage abantu emasimini lapha la nxa selusile indlovu ngahlangana lawo lezi ezihundiweyo ziyalimaza abantu. Indwangu wesi sesifike emakhaya ngoba indlala lezi sezibamba imbuzi zibamba inkukhu konke lokho kungathi ama-problem animals asilawo lapha kodwa sihlezi lapho asikubulali asikwenzi we are coexisting with them.
In other news from around the world, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday urged citizens to cast their vote in the upcoming weekend elections as an emblem of patriotism amidst what he termed as a difficult juncture for the country. Speaking solemnly, Putin underscored the challenging times faced by Russia, acknowledging the myriad complexities besieging the nation, stressing the importance for unity and confidence in navigating the trials ahead. With the impending March 15th, 17th election looming, Putin aims to secure his reign until at least 2030, a tenure surpassing that of any Russian leader since the illustrious Catherine the Great. Amidst his address, Putin also celebrated the inclusion of 4 recently occupied territories of Ukraine alongside the annexed Crimean Peninsula.
На выборы и выразить свою гражданскую и патриотическую позицию. Проголосовать за выбранного вами своего кандидата, за успешное будущее нашей любимой России. В выборах сегодня это и есть проявление патриотических чувств. Это хорошо понимают жители Донбасса и Новороссии, которые в тяжелейших условиях голосовали на референдумах за единство с Россией. И в эти дни также сделают.
Efforts are intensifying to provide much-needed aid to the Gaza Strip, which has been ravaged by war. The United Nations has issued warnings about the looming threat of famine, prompting urgent action to address the humanitarian crisis. In a ray of hope, relief efforts are underway, with aid shipments arriving by sea and air. Gazans banded together to gather aid amid the ongoing conflict and humanitarian crisis in the region. Despite ongoing mediation efforts, no truce has been reached between Israel and Hamas militants, leading to continued violence.
احنا يا عمي من يوم الحرب لليوم من اول الناس ما راحت على الجنوب واحنا لليوم تدخلش المساعدات والمعابر مغلقه، فيش اكل نجيب لاطفالنا، فيش تدور على علبه حليب للولاد الصغار، فيش. احنا بنطلع بنسرح استراحه سرنا من الصبح، من الساعه 7 الصبح نستنى الطياره ترمي علينا مظلات، وانت زي شايف هنا هذه المظلات يعني بتكفيش 1% من احتياجات الناس. احنا يعني بندبح بعض عشان نقدر كل واحد يطلع له بكرتونه لاولاده، ولا يطلع له بعلبه تونه ولا بعلبه فول.
In business, Nigeria has faced challenges such as a weakening naira, high inflation, and uncertainty in policy making. However, analysts at Goldman Sachs see a positive development, a notable change in monetary policy. Is Nigeria truly on a path of recovery? Oladipo Ajayi, head of fixed income and FX at Chapel Hill Denham, discussed the part in the Goldman Sachs report that mentions the country emerging from a period of monetary policy transition marked by a lack of reliable policy anchor.
The mention of the fact that Nigeria is moving to a more credible policy, it makes a lot of sense because they are looking at it from the angle that you can't perpetually keep monitoring or keep your rates stagnant while inflation is skyrocketing. You need to actually move rates. And if you also read the report, you will see where they actually mention the fact that for a long time now, the policy rate has become ineffective. And so it simply means that the monetary policy meetings all the while has been more like a tea party. So what they're trying to just highlight there is to state that truly the new CBN governor is actually working in stock. And you mentioned that his policy will be inflation targeting. He mentioned that it will at least move to a more flexible exchange rate compared to APEC.
Now, in the world of sport, the Pretoria High Court has ruled that the confessions made by accused 1 and 2 in the trial within a trial in the murdering of former South African goalkeeper Senzo Meyiwa was deemed admissible. Judge Ratha Mogodeng handed down the brief ruling on Thursday morning. In his ruling, Judge Ratha emphasized that he was making a ruling and not a judgment, and could be reviewed in the main trial. The trial within a trial, which started in October 2022, had sought to determine the admissibility of confession statements. Advocates Tulani Ngomezulu had urged or argued that his clients denied making the confessions freely and voluntarily. Now, joining me on the news to discuss this is a legal analyst, Mpumelelo Zikalala. Hello, Mpumelelo. Thank you so much for joining me on the news.
Good evening to you, Noso. Good evening to your viewers.
Good evening. All right, so what's your analysis on the admission of accused 1 and 2 statements? How strong was the state's case and also the closing submissions?
Well, it did present something that needed to be considered by the court in terms of the way the sequence of events that have taken place. However, I was not really entirely convinced as to how then these particular confessions ought to be accepted when the people that ought to have made the confessions or alleged to have made the confessions are simply denying it and saying, we're under coercion, we're under immense stress, the manner in which they handled us and even telling us that we're arrested for a correct or incorrect case is all the things that the court ought to have taken into account. And I was kind of hoping that the judge in providing this particular ruling would go to further analysis and provide or give us an example and even explanation as to the methodology that was used to arrive at this particular conclusion. But the judge seemed to say, this is the evidence that I've looked at, and this is the ruling in which I'm ordering, without going into details as how he arrived at the particular ruling.
All right, Mpumelelo, now what happens now when these confessions have been admitted and entered into the records? Are we to see Kelly Khumalo being arrested? Talk to us about the mechanics of, these confessions.
Not necessarily. Remember that whenever evidence is being brought to court, the first thing that the court will assess is this particular evidence admissible? And then from then, you then say, how much weight should I throw behind this evidence that has now been admitted or let through the door? Should we believe this evidence, or should we let the evidence fall aside and say it is probable that it took place in that particular manner? And that's the kind of work in which the court will have to do now. But with regards to other individuals that are there that may be implicated, the court is only confined to the people that is in front of them that are named as the accused. Whether Ms. Kelly Khumalo is being brought or not, Ms. Kelly Khumalo is not on trial, so the court can't make any expression of any order or any insinuations pertaining to her and her conduct. That will be done in a separate court if the state were to ever to decide to then prosecute her. But for now, the court is simply going to look at the evidence which is in front of it. Any other individuals that are implicated can be brought to court at a later stage, not this one, in a different judge, and they'll be tried based on a different number of facts, maybe on the strength of this particular case if the states end up winning. But for now, Ms. Kelly Khumalo can be regarded as a free individual.
Okay, now talking about believing evidences, do you think that the defense will dispute the ruling by Judge Rata? And if they do, what channels should they follow?
There may be an opportunity to do this, especially because Judge Rata did not come and explain it to and say, these are the elements that I looked at. Well, if you look at the Criminal Procedure Act, it's very clear under Section 217 as to what constitutes a confession statement that is admissible. It must be done in a free and voluntary manner. The person must be in their sober sentence, and there mustn't be any undue influence that is there. So then the question would be, how then did you assess that these individuals were free and voluntary when they're providing this solution, where they are sitting in court and they are telling you that there's some type of pressure and undue influence which was exerted upon them? So it is on those basis in which maybe it could have allowed the defense to have a much more deeper meaning and understanding in how the court arrived at that particular decision. There's still an opportunity, though. If you look at the Criminal Procedure Act again, I think it's Section 317 that says you are allowed as a legal practitioner or as a defense to register an illegality or illegality action that has taken place. So you go to court and say, in the manner in which you've dealt with this child within the trial, you are not happy. These are the things that we would like to raise. However, before we go there, can you please provide the reasons and the mechanism that you've used to assess this piece of evidence? If we are happy with it, we are going to abandon our application. If we are not happy with it, we're still going to continue with it. And with that, it has the power to go even to the Supreme Court or the Constitutional Court, because it would be a final decision in terms of the admissibility of that piece of evidence.
True that. Now, Mpumelelo, you did say that the judge did not explain the evidence, which means he did not go deeper into the elements of how he came about this decision. But how important is it for the defense and the accused to know how the decision came about, that if by any chance they would want to contest it?
It's to assess whether there's anything to contest in any manner, either by a review application or bringing that step under Section 317 of saying there's an irregularity or illegality that has taken place. So you're not going to know the things that have gone wrong if you're not told what process or mechanism was used to assess this piece of evidence. So it's absolutely crucial for the judge or for the defense to say, please make us understand what you are talking about here. Make us understand how you arrived at this decision, because the implications of such are basically meaning at this stage, the state is 80% close to winning its case, because once a confession has been admitted as evidence, if it's believed to be true, then they will be able to surpass the test of finding a person guilty beyond reasonable doubt. So the stakes are high in this particular matter. The stakes are high for the defense to try by all means to make sure that these confession statements are not admissible, because if they are, then it means they have to work extra hard to plant those instances of reasonable doubt in the judge's mind, so that the judge can find in their favor.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala, for joining me and speaking on this.
Thank you very much for hosting.
It's a pleasure. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Kaduna school children abductors have demanded 1 billion naira ransom as President Tinubu rules out ransom payment. We also told you that at least 50 have been killed after drinking herbal potion in Angola. And finally, you heard that Zimbabwean police have rescued children on earth-sect graves. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.